Hi guys, my name is Tereza Alux. I am Latam Director of Lizzies UX and one of the organizers of TalkUX 2020 for this year, Cross Cities meeting. I'm really glad of being here today, and I'd like to introduce you the most amazing people I've met on this time where I was working with Lizzies UX. So I will call Kavitha Krishnar, the Director of TalkUX. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. Thanks for having me. I am so excited to be part of this panel. And yeah, we're going to talk about the future of ladies at UX today.
Yes, we're so excited. So let's call Mariana Ozaki, that am EMEA Director.
Hello, I'm very excited to be here.
Shih, APAC Director.
Hi, everyone. Thank you.
Clara Kliman-Silver, North America Director.
Hi, it's so great to be here.
And Lizzie Dyson, our creator, our co-founder.
Hiya. Hi, it's great to be here. Hey, everybody.
All right. I am the moderator of this panel. So hello, everybody. And I'm really excited to be here. So we are here to talk about what Ladies at UX has in the future. We have a lot of ground to cover. We're going to talk about what Ladies at UX is doing in different parts of the world, how we have grown over the last couple of years, how we have adapted to the changing world. So we are going to start with some introductions. Let's go around the room and we will start with name. My name is Kavitha Krishnar. What part of the world we live in. I live in Madison, Wisconsin in the US. Our role in terms of Ladies at UX, I am the director of Talk UX. I'm the co-founder of Ladies at UX Madison. How long have you been involved with Ladies at UX? I think it's been over 6-7 years now. The first 1 year, I was a passive observer. I went to meetups. I learned a lot, but then I started contributing. I co-founded Ladies at UX Madison. I became a volunteer in Talk UX, and I'm now the director of Talk UX. And the last icebreaker question is, what is the best piece of advice you have received recently? So for me, it's been, it might be simple for other people, but the advice that I got, which I'm trying to practice, is saying no. There was a lot of time. I didn't have a family. I was in my early career. I did everything that people asked me to do. I never said a no. But now that I am in the middle level of my career and I have a family, I really have to pick and choose what to do. And it's hard to say no, but I've been trying really hard to say no. So that's the piece of advice that I have got. Should we start with Jane? Do you want to start, Jane?
Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm Jane Shih. I'm based in Taipei, Taiwan. I'm, director of APAC for Lady UX. First time, I remember it was like 2015. I was watching a video about Lady UX, and I was attracted about it. Right after. And then I contacted the headquarters, which, I think Lizzie interviewed me and onboarded me as a director for Taipei network. We now have grown the entire network to be around 2,000 members. And then we hosted the first Talk UX in Asia, actually back in 2017. And every month we host, monthly events for the ladies, in UX here. But also at the same time, because I'm also part of the global organization for the leadership team. So I also have to mentor or sometimes assist some of the other networks directors, some help them to grow their communities. So I'm really honored and really, appreciate these type of opportunities that Lady UX has given to me. I think the best advice I've given before, or what I heard about, this type of thing, is I remember someone told me anything's possible. And I didn't really realize that really impact whatever I do or whatever I have been helping other people to do for their career choices. So I think, if you think about anything's possible, no matter now, even we are in a pandemic, we have a lot of difficulties or challenges in our career, we can still be connected during, this difficult time. So, this is something I wanted to share with you in the beginning of this session. Thank you.
Clara, do you want to go next?
Sure. Hi, my name is Clara, and I am in San Francisco, California. I am the Director of North America for Ladies UX, and I've been in the organization since 2014. I was living in Boston back then, and I found out about Ladies UX on Twitter, and I decided that I wanted to start a chapter locally. So I was connected again to Lizzie and also her co-founder Georgie, and we had a nice call where they told me how to get started. And we grew. I think our first meetup was 5 people outside a coffee shop, not even in the coffee shop. I think we were having trouble finding each other, so outside. But it was really, really good and a really nice way to just meet people working in different sections of UX and thinking about different things. And the organization grew with the help of a number of co-founders I found out there. And then a few years later, I moved to California and got involved with the chapter that was here, and eventually began to get more involved globally, meeting people around the country and eventually around the world. This is my 4th time at Talk UX, and it's been an absolute honor to be here with all of you, be part of this organization and be on this panel. So thank you so much for organizing it. And a big shout out to Teresa and her team for the amazing conference that you've put on this year, especially everything that, with all the logistical challenges of being remote, I've just been so impressed. There's another question.
The best piece of advice.
Best piece of advice, thank you. Yes, it's early here, so bear with me. Best piece of advice that I've received recently is probably to take a step back. So I think there's always a lot going on, a lot you can do. I love that there are so many things that are possible. But in the spirit of saying no, I think it's also good to just take a break, sort of reevaluate, what do you want to be doing? What do you have on your plate? And take it slow. So I think that's something I'm definitely trying to take to heart. Thank you.
Lizzie, do you want to go next?
Yeah, I can go next. So obviously I'm Lizzie, and I am in Manchester in the UK. And my role is co-founder. So I started Ladies at UX 7 years ago now. How time has flown. And I guess my role has changed quite a lot over that time, but I'll probably go into that. I think we've got a question on it later. But I guess my role is kind of helping. I think the team do loads of amazing things, so I kind of chip in when I can and help to try and unblock things if I can. But yeah, just helping to support the team. So the icebreaker question, or best piece of advice that I've received, I would say it's quite similar to Clara's, and I think it's around being kind to yourself. I think in this difficult time when everybody is going through a pandemic, everybody's got different things going on in their lives. I think being kind to yourself and others is just really important. Not everything's in our control, and we're having to deal with new experiences. So when it feels like it's getting a little bit too much, it's kind of just about, like Clara said, taking a step back, trying to, I don't know, have time to breathe and realize that I think it will work out eventually. So yeah.
All right. Teresa, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Teresa again. Sorry. I'm based in São Paulo, Brazil. I'm Latam Director of Ladies UX. And how long have I been involved? Since I think it's almost 2 years. We started in March from 2019. So it's not so much time. In the icebreaker question, I think it's almost the same as Lizzie and Clara. So take a time for yourself, slow down, breathe, take care of yourself. I think everybody's really was really worried this year and anxious, and some people had some issues, health issues, and we need to take a break and think about our future and for ourselves too. So this was my icebreaker question, the advice people that gave me these times.
Mariana, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. So my name is Mariana Ozaki. I'm originally Brazilian, but I am now in Italy, living in Italy for five years in Milan. My role at Lizzies is EMEA Director. It's been like four months, I guess. So I'm the newest one from the group. But actually, my story, let's put my story with Lizzies started last year. Actually, 1 year ago, when I founded the chapter in Milan, and then I became the director 4 months ago. Also because actually I did a event with Jane, and then there was no EMEA director at the time, and then she said, "Why don't you apply?" And then I was like, "My God, should I apply or should I not?" Because I wasn't sure about if I could handle it, if I was even like good enough. And then I was thinking. Then I had another call with Teresa. Actually, Teresa did my onboarding for starting the chapter here in Milan, and then she gave me a lot of advice, like, "Yes, go for it." And then I went for it, and that's it. For the advice, I think it's very similar. For me, it would be ask for help. Also because of my Japanese heritage as well. I think it's very hard for me to ask for help when I need, because I think I can handle everything, and then I think, but I think it's also important to delegate and ask for help if you need. So that's it.
Awesome. Thank you for answering all those questions. I think part of this question has been answered, but I kind of want to go around and talk about when you joined Ladies That UX and what kind of attracted you, what made you join Ladies That UX. So let's go back how we came. So Mariana, do you want to answer the question?
Yes, sure. So back in 2018, I found out about Ladies That UX, and I saw on the list that Milan was not on the list. Like there was no Milan chapter here. So at the time I was thinking, and then I sent an email, but then no one answered. I didn't have a response. But then after a few months, I found Teresa on LinkedIn, and then I saw that she was the Latam Director. So I got her contact, and then I started the chapter. I think like my goal was also because being a Brazilian, I think it means to be always involved in community, because somehow all the Brazilians that I know, they help each other. So there's a lot of involvement with other people, like people who are asking for, like, looking for a job. I'm always this kind of person to do this backups, let's say. And then I found that for me it was missing this thing here in Milan, because I usually used to go to communities. The events were really good, but I didn't have like a networking here for people that were like me, also foreigners coming here to Italy to work, to study, and like to do really a networking. I don't know if it's because of the culture, also differences between cultures. So I thought it would be like a nice idea to bring this Brazilian side to Milan and to create a nice environment, like a friendly environment. And then I think Ladies That UX matches a lot in this sense, because also we are women, we support each other, we know how we feel. And yeah, it was it.
Okay. Teresa, do you want to talk about when you joined and what attracted you to Ladies at UX?
First time I heard of Ladies at UX, it was 2014. My former boss at WAL used to be chapter leader, but she moved to Stockholm. Then a few years later, I passed through a few situations that really bothered me. There's people saying things like, there are no talented women working with user experience, or women who don't have a nice relationship with other women. And I was so, what does it mean? There are amazing women and that work, that have been doing amazing work. And it really bothered me at that time. So I searched my former boss and asked for who is taking care of Ladies at UX São Paulo, because she has moved, and she said, now it's you, because I can't take care anymore. And my goal at the time was to encourage other women to show themselves, to show for the people that we are really amazing, and really our relationship is really fine, and we can take care and do amazing things and awesome things together. And this event is an example of that. I'm really proud of everybody here and the movement also as well. So I can say that my goal is, I wish that I'm really happy to.
Lizzie, let me rephrase the question for you. What made you start Ladies at UX? What made you? How did you even come up with this idea?
Yeah, so 7 years ago, I covered this a little bit in my previous talk, but I think the UX industry has changed a lot since then. But at the time, there were a lot of conversations similar to what Teresa's just said. We didn't know any, like me and Georgie didn't know any other women in the industry in Manchester. So we were going to meetups and events, and they were very sort of like, they were great events, but we just weren't seeing any other women there, and we wondered why they weren't coming along. And I think at the time, the tech industry still had a bit of a steer towards it being a bit of a lads club. So like, especially in Manchester, and I know every place is different, but since then it's a lot more diverse. We started it because we didn't know any women in the industry. We wanted to start getting them together and to be able to have a community of people that we could discuss I don't know, experiences that we'd been through, or challenges in like projects that we were going through, and just have a really informal conversation instead of it being more formal talk. So how do you build up that support community around you? And that's where, after a bottle of wine, which I mentioned in my talk, we'd gone for a few drinks after all of these meetups, and I think fueled by a bit of Dutch courage, we decided to go for Ladies at UX, and it just kind of took up from there. It's been an amazing journey. I've got to travel through sponsorship through Ladies at UX, visit some amazing places, and meet amazing people, and the support that you get through Ladies at UX is incredible. It's definitely a lot bigger than we ever imagined, but so glad it happened.
Clara, do you want to talk about your journey with Ladies at UX?
Yeah, happy to. So I think a lot of my motivations for starting the Boston chapter were similar to what other people have said. I'll add as well that I think that at the time I was very new to UX. It was I just started working in UX and learning a lot on the job. And I was working in a very particular industry within UX, or application of UX to a particular industry. So I was learning a lot about UX in that space, but not necessarily what UX looked like in other spaces. And because it was my first UX job, I also didn't really know what it was like in other types of companies. What's UX like at a startup? What's it like at an agency? So I was just very curious about what's UX beyond my personal experience. So I had gone to some meetups, but I had found that they were really big. Like it was not, and this is wonderful in a lot of its own ways, that it was not uncommon to go to a meetup and there would be 400 people there. And again, and as someone who's very junior, I was a bit intimidated. So I started to think about, are there other groups out there? And I was having trouble finding things. Maybe I didn't look hard enough, but I ended up just finding out about Ladies UX, and I thought, this sounds exciting. Let me see if there's anything there already, and there wasn't in Boston, so I started it. I think that, to Lizzie's point, some of the things that have really benefited me being part of this group, and especially now because I've lived in 2 cities since starting the Boston chapter, so being able to compare UX between the places I've lived, I've always been interested in what is UX like around the world, which again is one of the reasons why this conference has always been so exciting for me. And especially this year's version of it, but also just being able to meet UXers globally and sort of understand, what is your take on UX? I think in Boston, at least at the time that I was living there, UX was often applied to many other industries that were dominant out there. In San Francisco, where I am now, there is definitely some of that, but there's also other kinds of UX. So just being able to learn about these different applications and how do the other industries in the cities that you're in shape the types of UX that you practice has been something that's really motivated me and made me want to continue to be involved in the group over the years.
That's great. Jane, I know you started talking about your journey with Ladies at UX and what attracted you to Ladies at UX. Do you want to tell us a little bit more?
I think, along with everyone's thoughts, and especially with Clara's, I think along the 5 years I've been here, I'm not a UX designer, but I learned so much from the people I met with. And also, because I'm not really UX designer, so I'm able to not only learn from them, but also to help them to grow this community, and also to be able to grow the leaders around me. And that's really the thing that I feel that's really contributing to the overall kind of environment of what we have been working on. And I can see there's like more job opportunities, specifically for UX, roles and leaders role too in our society, not only in my country, but also in the overall region. So I think it's very important not only having a women in tech related organization like this, but also really a support group that, not only talk about UX, but also talk about our lives, different stages of choices, and also, to make friends essentially outside of work. And this is really what Lady UX really means to me, that I'm able to find people like you guys, to be my friends, and then to be able to talk to, a lot of different difficulties or any problems I have. I can consult with, people in the different domains expertise.
Thank you, Jane. So today we have directors from different part of the world. So let's go around and get a quick report of what's happening, how things have changed, how the region has grown, new chapters added, what are some of the new things that they're doing. So we will start with Jane and learn more about the APAC region.
Yeah. So my region, actually, we have the least, networks in the overall global organizations. We have around 5 networks, including Taipei, Tokyo, Brisbane, Melbourne, and Bangalore. And for this year, we're focusing on really connecting the networks rather than expanding. I remember last year I was approached by a few people, for example, people based in Singapore, people based in different cities in India. We interviewed them, but I really, we didn't really onboard them at the time. We didn't really feel like that's the right timing to onboard the new networks, because we didn't have the enough support for them. And then up into this year, because of the pandemic, we feel like it's actually more important to maintain, also connect the leaders within our networks to feel like we are all supportive to each other. And that's why we have, contact with Mariana and also for our Tokyo directors, our Bangalore directors, to be able to produce an event in June to talk about UX and culture. So I think, for us, overall, people move to the online events. Some of the chapters in here, for example, Melbourne, Brisbane, they kind of have to stop for a few months because of the pandemic. But they started to host online events, pretty regularly since maybe from June timeframe. And then for Tokyo, I talked to Eriko Toda, right before this meeting. She also almost had to drop all of her physical work actually to be able to move all the communities and events online, and she's trying to kind of a balance of the overall situation because of the adjustments. In Taipei network, we actually have a pretty minimal impact because of the pandemic. We still host like physical events in the beginning of the pandemic, and with very small groups, for example, 10 people in the restaurant or something. And then afterwards, we moved a little bit online, and we do workshops regarding like empathy mapping to help people understand or help people to kind of empathize on the feelings of different roles under the pandemic. For example, the nurses, the patient, and then other people like our like families, friends that could potentially be impacted. So, and afterwards we started to host physical events every month since from July. And every group, every event, we have around 50 plus people, so that we can continue to have that momentum with the physical events and networking with each other. But I think we are a very rare case in overall like in this region. So yeah, I think it's definitely impacting a lot because of the current situation of COVID-19. But I think the overall network leaders are hanging there well to help each other, and then also try to even connect more people outside of their own cities, but also within their countries or other things by hosting those online events. And that's a good thing, about that too. Yeah.
Jane, that's great the way you have managed things this year. Trying to improve what you already have instead of just expanding for the sake of expanding. But I'm curious to know what are your plans for the next year, for the coming year?
So currently we didn't really have a chance to form a regional team, but because of the constantly communication among the current network leaders, I really think after the June event with Mariana, other chapters, we all wanted to have more like regional leaders meetups or networks, like meetups together to be able to kind of feel that we can discuss more dynamics or different topics within UX together. That's one of the things that we can do. For next year, because it's my second year this year actually is my second year of being the APAC Director. I'm actually really eager to pass down my knowledge and experience and hope I can find my successor. And so whoever is interested, if you are in the Daily UX organization for over 2 years and you're being the directors or even helping co-organizing the events, feel free to reach out to me. I'm super, super excited and also really wanted to find the good, leader for my role. And then I'm ensure like this is the right thing to do with passing on those knowledges and also be able to help and scale the entire organization to have a better APAC, overall, sustainable environment too. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. Good luck with your search. Let's move to Teresa. I know we've had a lot of growth in Latam. There's a lot happening in there. So, Teresa, do you want to kind of talk about what you've accomplished so far, what the region has been able to do so far?
So we grew a lot this year since we started Ladies That Works in São Paulo. We are already in 26 chapters in Latin America, 21 in Brazil, and every month there's another chapter growing, giving birth, and it's amazing to follow these people, to help them to improve the participation, women participation technology in their cities. I'm really proud of this too. This year, there are many opportunities for working as UX designer in Latin America. Companies are understanding the needs to put the users at the center of the solutions. There are lots of ramifications of UX, such as UX writing, UX research. So there's a lot of different opportunities, and companies are hiring professionals that are thinking of user experience beyond the interface, thinking in other solutions of being the physical experience or voice experience, just as vui, for example. But the difficulty, in my point of view, is that companies are searching for senior designers, people with a lot of experience, and people who are starting or changing their career has difficulties for finding their first job. But this year in Latin America, therefore, all these companies, all job opportunities review, there were already a really strong communities in UX here, such as EXDA, UXPA, and big events like UXConf and International South America. But there wasn't, when I started, a community dedicated for improving women participation technology, which was a surprise for me. Now there are a few, even for women's participation, and for international people, just like or Asians or people who for improving diversity, I'm really nervous, sorry for that. So I think it's that. This year we did a lot for the community here. When I heard the first time of the pandemic in China, I was really worried of being here someday, but I kept optimistic. But however, the pandemic arrived here, and the whole team was very shaken. Some sitters had suffered a lot, people losing their jobs, people losing their families. There were a time that we need to support each other and have to be understanding. But as soon as we adapted ourselves, we resumed the activities remotely. It was amazing. Chapters got even more closer. It was really nice to join forces to negotiate principal tickets for events and courses to give to the community. So we could help the people who lost their jobs, educating them, giving opportunities of studying, instead they would be able to find another job. So this year, I think it's almost 100 tickets for course and events with schools that are really supportive for our cause. We created very important projects such as a mentoring program for Latam with topics as health, taking care of themselves, health issues, and developing their leadership in the macro way. So it was really important too. We launched the podcast. There are some channels, Ladies That Works in Portuguese, Ladies That Works in Spanish, that we are centralizing all our contents because it would be really much easier to find. So I'm really proud of this. We also got to organize this event. We're proud too. And it's that. I think it's that.
Yeah, great work. Yeah, Latin America has grown so much, so many chapters, all the new initiatives that the group has been doing and organizing Talk UX. Great job. Mariana, I know you've been the director of EMEA not for too long, but can you tell me what you've been able to do so far, how things have grown in the region, and what your plans are for the future?
Yes, it's been 4 months, as I said before. So in Europe, we have 21 chapters in Europe, Middle East, and Africa. And some of the chapters started doing mentorship programs. Also, the chapters, they got to do their events online, remotely. Also, the mentorship program, some of them, I know that, for example, Dublin, they had this year the mentorship program online. So thinking about these chapters that they had to do their events remotely, they got some difficulties, but I think all of us like to adapt to new tools, also to understand about our audience, who people could like, how people could participate as well of our events. But like what I was trying to do was to make the chapters getting closer to each other. That's my plan. So I started to do some like mentorship with other chapters, also thinking about new alternatives for the future, that I don't want to do any spoilers because we're going to talk about it later. But like doing some events together, like this year, we like as the Milan chapter, we had the opportunity of collaborating with Taipei, also Bangalore. It was really nice. And I think that's it. I hope the chapters here, Europe, Middle East, and Africa, they get closer, and we can collaborate together as well.
Okay, great work, great work. Clara, you're one of our seasoned directors. You've been here the longest, I think, as the director of North America. So do you want to talk about some of the things that you've been doing?
Yeah. So I think a lot of my responses are similar to what other people said, so I won't repeat too much of it. But I think that I've noticed a lot of cross collaboration as well. And I think that, you know, while many of us miss being in person, and I hope that we'll be able to do in-person events again someday, I do think that it's been really exciting to see chapters doing events together. So in particular, I want to give a shout out to the Seattle chapter that's been doing regular events. San Francisco partnered with them, I think Boston partnered with them, and possibly some other cities as well. And one of the things that's been really nice about that is different groups get to learn from each other about what's going on in their regions, but also just finding speakers, sharing knowledge, meeting people in other parts of the country or other countries. We had an event, I think that was Boston, San Francisco, and Seattle, and people were saying where they were from in the chat, and there are people from not just from those two cities, but all over the US, all over Canada, and even I think outside of North America as well. So you get a lot of uptake from people around the world. I hope that continues. I mean, I really do hope that excuse me, that we'll see a return to in-person meetups as soon as it's safe to do so. But I also hope that we'll be able to continue to disseminate things, what we're doing globally, because I really enjoyed being able to call into events elsewhere and have stuff recorded if it's the middle of the night where I am. But I really hope that other people will be able to learn from each other, because we are a global community, and I think that we can really continue to dig into that regardless of what happens in the near term.
Awesome. Lizzie, we've now spoken about different regions, what they have done, what their plans are for the future. So I'm kind of curious to know, what is your vision for Ladies at UX, as a global organization? What are we going to do?
Yeah, so I think in the past we've had very defined plans for Talk UX, and with us all being volunteers, it's been across the whole world. It's very difficult to sort of get everybody in one place, and I think the great thing about Ladies UX is that we've created this sort of mission to support and promote women in the industry, and I don't think that has changed. I think the world has changed slightly, so I think it's like we're open to anybody getting involved and helping to support our mission, and it is about supporting the people that don't normally have access to these communities. I think supporting and promoting was mentioned a lot, welcoming and connecting. And I think from an organic, we need to think about how we support the organic growth that has come out of Ladies at UX. I think there's so many amazing things that come out of each city and each country and each like community and culture, that it's about supporting and encouraging that. So not one template's not going to fit for everybody. I would love to get us to a place within the next year. We've sort of talked about in the past where because we're volunteers, our processes have grown and we've added different tools for everybody to stay connected. But I'd really like to sort of bring us into sort of one centralized place that we can showcase all the amazing things that are happening across Ladies at UX. So all the brilliant work that Teresa's been doing with podcasts. So is there blog articles that we can do, like when people tell us that there's not many women out there doing the difficult stuff in UX, we can say, hang on, here, like come here, look at all this amazing stuff around the world. And it's just about carrying on promoting and supporting women in the industry. And I think everybody can get involved in that in one way or another, just elevating it more. I don't know if I've missed anything and anybody would like to add to that. No. That means I've done a great job then, right? That's all right, isn't it?
I'm curious to know, based on where you started,
Mm-hmm.
Ladies at UX, looking at the growth, what do you think about that? What do you think we should accomplish in 2021? Are there like some major goals, Lizzie?
So are there any major goals for 2021?
Mm-hmm.
I think we've talked about launching a new website in the past. I was trying to avoid mentioning this because we're our volunteers. It's one that sort of has got stuck on the past, but we are sort of in conversations and things are moving around getting a platform that we can all share. I think it would be amazing if we could get that live so that we have one place so that everybody can access meetups, like Clara's mentioned, being able to join meetups from different cities or accessing recordings. And I think that's great, being able to get different perspectives on how people tackle different problems around the world. So being able to access that would be incredible. I think if we're doing the podcasts as well, having a home for that. And I think if we got to a place by the end of 2021 where we had one home for Ladies at UX, that would be a massive achievement, because it's something that we've been trying to do for a while. I think I know that a lot of our people that have wanted to get involved with Ladies at UX have been really patient, and I'm really grateful for that, because it's like getting everybody set up whilst everybody's juggling jobs, families, and everything else that goes on, especially this year with COVID. Like, bear with us, we'll get there. And I think it's with Teresa and the work that she's doing, it's testament that there is still obviously a keenness and a need for Ladies at UX, and that we're going to keep growing. I think when we get the right tools in place, we'll be able to carry on scaling faster and carry on taking over the world.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. That sounds amazing. Something that we need to do. Clara, you have been with the organization the longest. So, how has Ladies That UX grown over the last couple of years? In given all that's happening around us, what do you think we should be doing for 2021? What should be our goal?
Yeah, so two-part question. I think how it's grown, I mean, there's been a lot of growth. I think that there are lots of new chapters, and especially Teresa's amazing work to build out Latin America. I think we've also seen a lot of people change what their relationship to the organization is. I think there are a number of people who joined the organization when they were at certain points of their career, when they needed a certain kind of support, or they had the capacity to run a meetup group. Now things have changed for various reasons for different people, and thinking about how those cities want to grow. One thing that I've been thinking about a lot also is as people become remote more. I mean, we have a lot of people who are temporarily remote right now because of the pandemic, but I know a lot of people who are planning to move remotely. A lot of companies have been saying that you can work from anywhere. And there are many people who do that anyway. So you might not have a home base. You might not have a city that has a chapter in it. And you have options. People could start chapters in their new cities, but people also, if you think about people who just move around the world and keep their jobs, but are going to different places every couple months or whatever cadence, how do they stay connected? So that's something I'm just interested in getting people's perspectives on, and I'd love to think about how meetups can accommodate that going forward. I think there's to me, physical community is definitely very important, but I've had a lot of opportunity to travel around and meet Ladies UX groups in different cities. And for people for whom that's their way of life, I would love to make sure that they feel included. We can definitely continue to be a global community as well as a local one. So I think going to 2021 and beyond, that's definitely something that I'm excited about. And I think even if it's done in very casual way, where we have stuff on YouTube, we have blog posts, there are the podcasts. I think those are great starts in those directions, and I'm excited to see what people come up with. And if you're interested in getting involved, definitely reach out, because I think this is a good time to grow, and this is a good time to share where you are, connect with other people, take advantage of the fact that so much is happening online right now.
That's great. Teresa, everybody has been talking about you and the growth in Latam. So let's talk about UX in South America. Can you talk about how the industry is, how it's been growing? What do you think is going to happen to the UX industry in 2021? Any major trends?
Well, I think I gave you some spoilers just before on the last answer. And I was working the last question, but the industry here is really mature. It's growing faster, growing strong. There's so many people leaving the country, unfortunately, because on the other countries they are finding that some really competent and talented people, Brazilian guys, such as Mariana, that is in Italy as well. But there's really hard to find senior designers here. There are lots of people who are moving, changing careers, and trying something new. so just starting in UX or moving, they need some opportunity to develop themselves. So companies, it's just a tip for the companies, just please give a junior a chance. Hire them and introduce them to the career, because there are such amazing people who is starting or changing the career. There's just fine as well. I think it's not necessary to be everybody senior as your team. So in the Hispanic countries, I think that Argentina is the most developed country nearby. In matter of UX, working as UX, there are a lot of opportunities there too. and Chile, Santiago, Chile, so really mature. Guadalajara, we had a chapter in Guadalajara, and City of the Mexico, we were trying to start one these days before, but it didn't finish the on board. So there are opportunities, and people from other countries constantly looking for our professionals and installing them. But it's okay, I think. We are growing. Brazil and Latin America is really growing when you talk about technology and innovation, for example.
Jane, can you talk about UX in the APAC region? I know as a non-UX professional, but somebody who's actively involved in mentoring, who's in a leadership role. What do you think about UX and where it is going?
I think in the past, especially if I want to talk about the situations in overall Asian's culture, most of the positions in the past that they are confused related between the UI and UX designer for many years, for the past like maybe 3 or 4 years, and up until I think maybe 3 years ago, I started to find companies that they actually specifically wanted to look for UX designers or UX related positions. And actually some of the companies wanted to separate that entire organizations into the product organization rather than in the past, maybe in under the engineering organization. So I feel this is a good change. Means user experience design or user research, this type of concept is actually now building into the product design. And at the same time, it probably can be a big change for how companies look at where the money should be invested in before they even started to develop the product, and that's a good thing actually for the overall innovation and also for the growth of the different talents inside of my society or even in this region. And that's one of the changes I can see, and I can see this is a long-term impact because there are actually more than 50% of the designers I can tell they are female now, but there's less than 10% of leadership team that's actually female leaders. So definitely there's room for improvement for the leadership positions for UX roles, but as long as we are okay, or we are opening up different opportunities for female UX designers in different organizations or companies, they eventually will get there. So that's one of the things, or one of the KPIs we always wanted to track. Is it a healthy growing environment for women UX designers to stay in the companies? That's one thing. And then I think the second thing about the overall environment for UX is pretty welcoming. In the past, we always say there's lack of education in the college level to develop UX skills. And most of people have to learn their UX user experience or type of experience by building their portfolios, maybe working on side jobs, or maybe going to cram schools, outside of the school, outside of college. But in nowadays, people share their knowledge via, for example, Medium posts, share their portfolios, even open up different workshops, personally, and all share their knowledge inside of our communities so that they can meet other people, maybe are the beginners of the industry, and they also with people that are more senior level, which are looking to develop those talents in their companies. So these are the good opportunities I can see by building a Lady UX, network inside of Taipei or in Tokyo, in other places. We actually create opportunities for people to learn in a very relaxing way and in a very connected way. Yeah. So these are the two things I want to share based on the observation over the years.
we've spoken quite a bit about what we've accomplished, what we have in store for the future. I kind of want to talk about, what are some of the things that's working and what are some of the things that's not working for us. So I feel like I want to start this with Mariana, because I always feel like at work, in some of the research projects I've done, a new person's perspective is always interesting. They have an unbiased opinion. So Mariana, can you talk about some of the things that's working and some of the things that we ladies at UX needs to start working on? Like, where do we have to put our effort? Where do we have to improve?
Scary, scary question. Joking. So I think what is working is the possibility of going live on remote events. I think this is the best thing. Although, even though the situation that we're living, like the moment that we're living, is not so good, I feel that I can see other events that they were supposed to be like live, physically events. But like, for example, I can enjoy other events also in Brazil, depending on the time. Also other events here in Europe, I can follow as well. So I think being remote gave me this possibility of getting to know other people inside of Ladies at UX and collaborate as well. I think also one of the things that we want to do is to make like more like a unit, because especially here in Europe, I compared each like country of Europe as if they were like states of Brazil, because I think the size will be more like that. So the countries are small, and each one of them, they have different languages, different cultures. We don't speak the same language. So I think one of the things that I would like to do is to bring like a unit, also a collaboration with other chapters, like a cross collaboration. Also, the plan for next year is to start also a podcast in English with other chapters. So to have this kind of projects that we can collaborate would be very nice.
Lizzie, can you tell me some of the things that you think we should be working on to improve?
I feel like I've covered these in the previous questions, in the sense that I think it's more, and I'm probably reflecting on the things that everybody said so far, but I think the Ladies at UX community is such a valuable thing to those that are involved. So how do we bring that to a digital world, and how do we keep on supporting people? And I think the definitely starting to sort of promote and support the women in these different communities. So like Clara said, if it's through YouTube or different platforms that are already out there, using those to amplify the experiences of women that are out there. I think at the minute, so far, like Ladies at UX has been focused on in-person meetups, and people get a lot out of those. So how do we reflect that same experience in a digital space is going to be a really interesting one to start thinking about as we come out of like a COVID world. And that's another thought. But I think it's just like, amplifying what we're already doing, and streamlining some things that we do internally, so that we're able to focus more on the things that matter. Like what do we need to do that's, if we think about the time and our effort, considering that we're volunteers, that helps us to fulfill our mission of promoting and supporting women in that friendly way. Like, a lot of people come to Ladies at UX, and I think I started it out when I was quite junior in UX, and like Clara mentioned, I think meetups can be quite intimidating to go to. So we wanted to sort of, when me and Georgie started it out, Georgie made a special effort to say hello to everybody that came along and made them feel welcome. So yeah, continuing that community and friendly, welcoming atmosphere, but somehow in a digital space. I think each city is doing an amazing job. So how do we sort of get them connecting with each other more is the key thing, I think.
I want to be respectful of time. Time check, Teresa. We are at the 1 hour mark. Is this a good time to end the panel? Teresa, you're on mute.
You can end it just right now, or we can talk a little bit about 20 minutes if you'd like to.
I was hoping to, I just want to open the question to the entire panel, maybe. What are some of the things that we should be working on, as a Ladies at UX global organization, or, just thinking about your own chapter, your own region? What are some of the things that needs to be improved?
I hope that we'll be able to do even more positive impacts on female participation technology in Latam. Mentoring projects such as mentoring program, so it will be much more stronger. And the podcast also. We'd like to launch Ladies at UX Moms, or we'd like to name it Ladies at UX Family, which aims to support mainly of mothers who needs to take turns between raising their children and working. We don't like them to leave their works to dedicate themselves only for motherhood. We know that it's a choice, but I think we lose so much when somebody's so talented, someone so talented and smart leaves the work. So in Brazil, unfortunately, this responsibility still falls for raising their children. It still falls a lot in the women. So we'd like to bring with this program parents to get together to raise their children, and nobody needs to leave the work to dedicate themselves or for the family. We'd like to improve even more our negotiations with schools and organizers, event organizers, to take tickets and give the opportunity for the people to study, people who don't have the opportunity to pay or to afford, So we'd like to increase these opportunities for these people. I think that what is not working so well is that find our content is really hard, because every chapter until then was really separated from each other. We didn't used to collaborate with other chapters, and every chapter has a channel on YouTube, for example, and it's really hard to find. Sometimes there's only one meetup in this channel. So if you would be able to join force and to centralize this content, I think everybody will be more fertilized, more stronger. So people will be able to see it, and it will be easier for us to manage this content.
Yeah, I'll add that I think one major area of opportunity, I think we've already seen this, so this is something that's working and something that I think we can do more of. So I've noticed around the world there's sort of some general purpose events that might teach a method, that might be a career panel, might be about what is UX like in this industry or in this kind of context. We've also seen a lot of call for events and a lot of events that have been focused around the experience people who want to break into UX, who might be transitioning from another industry, or who might not have formal training in it. But then also for people who have been in UX for a while and who are asking, what's next? How do I grow my career? What does it mean to be a manager? What does it mean to be a leader in an organization? I think these are all very different use cases that can be addressed in a number of different ways. The Seattle chapter did a number of events in a leadership series that got at this. So they had one event, I think, about leading an organization and then leading organizations remotely. There have been a number of different events that I've seen over the years around what does it mean to be a UX manager, and how do you know if you're ready? If you don't want to manage, what are your options as a leader? And I'd love to see more of these kinds of events put out there. And I encourage people who want to speak on these things, whether it's about how to break in or how to grow as an established UXer, to reach out and get involved, because I think there are lots of people out there who want to hear your stories.
Jane, do you want to add something, things that you would like to improve on?
I think what Clara has been speaking is actually pretty good for the future, maybe event planning for us. I mean, a series of topics that's actually can have deeper discussions, and for people to even share their own different industries' opinions on those roles is important. It's one of the career development process to help with people who are new to the industry, or people who wanted to break into the UX careers. Yeah, so I think that's very, very good advice. I think what other things we can improve is really to help people understand what's available actually outside of the current country. Because I'm thinking, because of the pandemic, I think the future of work would be more leaning towards to remote work, and also, you can actually work anywhere for any employers in different countries. So I'm hoping to see more and more UX designers that are able to produce work and collaborate with different team members among different cities, rather than only work with the people inside of here. So I think that would be a good thing to share, and also a good skills to develop.
Yeah, this was a really interesting discussion. I always feel energized after this panel every year. I know we talk about the future of ladies at UX. We come up with so many ideas, and we point out mistakes that needs to be fixed, things that we need to improve on. So this is a great panel. Thank you all so much. I know different timings. Jane, it's the middle of the night for you. So I really appreciate you all taking the time to be here and talking about the vision and the future of ladies at UX. Thank you all so much.
It's been great to see you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Have a good
Bye.
one. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.